My son was just 14 when he was diagnosed with bipolar disorder, very unusually early. He had a manic attack, and he's got bipolar affective, which means that when he becomes manic, he can become psychotic. They prescribed medication for him and antipsychotics and a mood stabilizer, and he took these and it took away the symptoms, but it made him chronically fatigued. All he could do was lie down on the sofa. He wasn't strong enough to go to school, and in fact has not been at school since the end of year 9. He never went back to school. He was never well enough. After 6 months of being on the drugs, I was so worried about it, I took him off the drugs with the psychiatrist's approval, but because I was hoping that, I don't know, it was just a one-off. But after a month, he had a full-blown psychotic episode, which lasted actually for 6 months. So it was very bad, and he was very unwell. Anyway, that was when he was 14. He is now 20, and we have learnt how to cope with it. He has had 2 more much shorter manic episodes since then, and maybe is that 2 more? One more since then, and which lasted for 3 months and wasn't so bad because he was still on his meds. The problem with Robbie is that the medication makes him extremely tired, and it also makes it difficult to sleep and encourages him to eat an awful lot of food and gain weight. He can then develop high blood pressure and be overweight, which is not great. So we have been looking for ways to combat this and improve his health, but we are dedicated to taking the medication until he is well enough to not need the medication, which I still hope may be the case with IHT. For now, he is still taking his medication. What has changed? Well, we started the IHT therapy last October. So that's November in his case, November 2024. So he's been doing it since then, and we have seen a massive improvement in him. During this year, the easy way of making the comparison is to talk to his tutor, because he has had home tutoring provided by the state because he's so ill and unable to go to school, in order to try and do a couple of basic exams that 16-year-olds take. And the tutor, we had to withdraw him from taking these public exams the last time, 2 years ago, when he tried to take them because the stress was too much and he got ill. We tried another time and also had to withdraw him. But since doing the IHT therapy, he has been able to take his exam this summer, and he's actually, we had yesterday, day before yesterday, yesterday, the results, and he got the top mark that he could possibly get, 9. There is no higher mark in his French general certificate, which is the exam 16-year-olds take, and it's the first public exam he's taken. So we consider this an absolutely marvellous result. It's the fact that he could take the exam, the fact that he did so well, the fact that his teacher enjoyed teaching him and she said that in the last year he is just a different child. I remember a year ago she sort of said, well, does he suffer from autism? And I said, no, I don't think so. He's been assessed for autism. He doesn't have autism. He's just slightly spaced out because of the medications. And she just no longer even questions that. She says he's so chatty, and his whole temperament has changed. In this last year, he has also become much more sociable. He started this music group, and now he's made friends in the music group. It is a music group for people with mental health issues. So it's people who are in a similar situation to him, having a difficult time, but he's made real friends, and he's now sort of going to London and going out and meeting these friends, going to the pub. He plays with them every week. He has started recording music. He's got his own stereo system and software, so he's composing music. We are planning for him to start his next exam, which will be maths in November, and in next summer he'll do 2 English exams. So he was put forward for maths, I think 2 years ago, and English last year, and none of that happened. We had to withdraw him because of too much stress, but we know now that he can do it. But we are still pacing him. So we are not saying that he is completely better. As I said, he's still on his meds. But the improvement in his, I don't know, his personality and his energy, he still has trouble sleeping and gets up in the night to eat, but it is much less of a problem than it used to be. He's got his weight under control. We have been doing a combination of keto dieting, but actually more recently he's been doing actually intermittent fasting, really, and not eating 1 meal a day, and then a bit at night, but going most of the day without eating. And he seems to be able to control his weight now. And more recently we tried to reduce his meds. We've tried repeatedly and never been able to, but most recently he was able to reduce his meds without it stopping him sleeping. But we gave up. It still was not, he was not quite ready to do that. But I suppose what I'm saying is the improvement in him is significant. He says, tell Arcady that basically my energy levels are so much better than they used to be. He still has periods where he feels fatigued. It depends. But whereas before he was fatigued a lot of the time and had difficulty sleeping a lot of the time, he now is getting up earlier and most days has much more energy than he used to. He is so full of hope for the future because, well, both of us, we feel, and his father, we feel that if we keep going and keep doing the things we're doing, he is only going to get better. I think it's a very exciting therapy for people with bipolar because, as Chris Palmer, the Harvard psychiatrist, indicates, he thinks that bipolar and a lot of mental illness is actually mitochondrial dysfunction, and of course IHT addresses mitochondrial dysfunction. Thank you.